Everyone, welcome to another episode of Team Crafternoon. I'm Miss Randy, and today I'm going to show you how to make a DIY paper spinner. Let's get started. Okay guys, let me show you what you need to get started. First off, you're going to need a piece of cardboard. So I have some cardboard that was cut from the lid of a box. So we have that. You're going to need some kind of bowl or glass, something with a rounded edge so that you can trace it onto the cardboard to make the beginnings of our paper spinner. You're going to need yarn, some kind of paper. For the first paper spinner that I made, I used plain like printer paper, and I colored my own design. This time I'm going to use some fun scrapbook paper that I had on hand that has a nice watermelon design. If you do decide to use plain paper, obviously, you know, you can use markers, crayons, whatever you want to do to decorate your paper spinner. You're also going to need scissors, or if you have your parents' permission or if they're around to help you, you can use an X-Acto knife because you're going to need to obviously cut your cardboard from whatever you're using, but also cut into the cardboard to get our paper spinner shape. I also have an Elmer's glue stick, and then I'm going to try using a pen or a pencil because we need to poke some holes to run our yarn through the spinner. So first off, I have my cardboard piece here. So I'm going to get everything else out of the way, and I'm just going to have my cardboard here. So I'm going to use my pen or my pencil. Let's use the pencil. And I'm going to take my bowl and I'm going to put it face down on top of my cardboard. You can use something smaller if you'd like, but this was what I had on hand. So I'm just going to use my pencil and I'm going to carefully trace along the outside edge of the bowl so that I know where to cut. So you can see, I'll show you this side. I used a pen for this side. I have my round shape there that I'm going to then take my scissors and cut along where I've just drawn. So we're going to cut out the circle from the cardboard. These scissors are, just make sure that you're not using a dull pair of scissors. And again, if you need help with this part, you know, ask a parent or an adult to help you with this part. So, just going to keep cutting along the edge until I have my circle cut out. So that is the beginning of our paper spinner. So I have my cardboard piece all cut out. I'm going to take that and put that off to the side right now. And here I have my pattern paper that I'm going to use for my paper spinner. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the cardboard, and we're just going to take our bowl, we're going to rest it on the paper, and we're going to trace along. Because I have this nice pretty pattern, what I'm actually going to do then is flip it to the back so that I don't have my, I don't have a line on the printed side. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use my pencil to trace along the outside of the bowl. And this time we're going to do that twice because we want to cover both sides of our cardboard. So we're just going to do that one more time. And now I have traced 2 circles into my paper here, and we're just going to cut those out. do the same thing. We're going to cut along where we've just traced our circle. So then once we have both circles cut out, we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, for the next part, we're going to take the circles that we've cut out and we're going to glue it to our cardboard piece. So I'm just going to take my glue stick here and I'm just going to cover my cardboard with glue. Alright, so I have my glue down. I'm going to put my glue stick to the side. I'm going to take my paper circle and I'm just going to lay it out. Make sure the cardboard is all covered. I'm going to lay it on top and then just press down to make sure that my paper gets glued to the cardboard. So then you're just going to flip the cardboard circle over and glue the second piece to the other side. Okay guys, time for the next step. So as you can see, I have my cardboard circle covered on both sides in my printed paper. For the next step, we're going to be adding yarn so that we can make our spinner spin. So probably the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use either a pencil or a pen and we're going to put 2 holes in the center of our cardboard piece. So I'm just going to kind of, if you have a ruler you can of course measure. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. So I'm going to put 1 hole there and then about maybe like a 1/2 inch across from it. I'm going to put another hole. Let me show you that in close-up. So as you can see, I have the beginnings of my 2 holes right here. They don't go all the way through, so I'm taking my pen and I'm just making sure that it goes all the way to the other side. So you want to do that for both. You want to make sure. And then once you have the holes on the other side, of course, you can go in the opposite direction, kind of widen those a little bit so that we can make sure that the yarn is going to go through, is going to fit. So you can see I have 2 holes there. I might need to make those a little bigger, so let me work on that. Okay guys, you can see I have made the holes a little bigger. I did use my scissors a little bit kind of to poke through and make those a little bigger. You might need help with that step, so of course, you know, ask your parent or a guardian to help you with that. The next part, we're going to be adding in our yarn. So this is just regular yarn. I have actually cut a piece off. This might be a little bit too big, but that's okay. We can trim it down if we need to. One thing you might notice after you've cut it is that you have kind of a frayed edge in your yarn. It might make it a little difficult to actually put it through the holes depending upon how big you've made them. So a couple suggestions. You can use some kind of tape and tape the end of the yarn, just kind of wrapping it tightly around the end so that it'll fit through the hole. The other thing that you can do is you can use your glue stick, if you still have that on hand. You can get a little bit of glue on your fingers. Of course, you'll probably need to wash your hands after you're done this, but you get a little glue on your fingers. Take your end and just kind of twist it around so that we're kind of making or gluing the strands together. now you can kind of see that we don't really have that frayed edge anymore. So when we go to run it through, we can fit it in just like that. So I've gone through once. You want to take the edge, come back in the opposite direction through the second hole that you've made, because we're kind of making a loop. If your the end of your yarn becomes frayed, you can add more glue. I just kind of twisted it again, and I just created a loop on one side. So what I'm going to do next, I told you my yarn was really kind of too big. So I'm going to line up the ends together. I'm going to pull my yarn back out, make sure that I have a little bit, because what we want is we want to create a loop that we can tie together. So I'm just going to kind of measure it so I have enough on both sides. So I'm going to leave it like about that long on this side. And I'm going to cut a little bit off here. And then all I'm going to do is tie a knot with my two ends. So now I've got a loop that goes through the center of my paper, of my cardboard circle, and it's tied at one end. Now here comes the fun part. Okay guys, we're going to test out our paper spinner. So I have each end in my fingers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the string in my hand so I can tighten up my string. We're trying to create tension, and as we create tension, as we pull and release, we can spin our cardboard circle in the center. Okay guys, so we got this one as well. This one's pretty fun, it's rainbow. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create tension. We're going to twist up our yarn string, and then as it all is all twisted, we're going to push and pull, and it's going to spin our DIY spinner. Well, that's all the time we have today. We hope you enjoyed this project. If you do decide to make this at home, please share it with us on social media using the hashtag FountainDaleLib. For more Teen Crafternoons or other videos like this, please visit our YouTube channel at fountaindale.org/YouTube. We'll see you next time.